Okay, so this slide is about comments and white space. So comment, you put an apostrophe here or a single quote mark here, and then you can write whatever you want. You could also put it here and then write what you wanted right here. And white space means like there's nothing in here, right, between this line and this line. That's called white space. You can add as much white space as you want. And the basic recommended use is each comment precedes a single block. By a single block, we mean a single step in our algorithm. And then you can separate each block by white space. Okay? And so you should have, according the basic recommended use is that you would have a comment in front of each block. So I will want you to do that in all of your homework assignments from now on, and to put white space in between each block, whereby, again, what we mean by a block is basically a single step in our algorithm. Okay, now we get to program 2, the price calculator. So let's make a program that allows us to name a product, assign it a price, and a desired number to buy, calculate the subtotal, the consumption tax, and then the total. Assume a consumption tax rate of 5%. It's easiest to think in terms of variables and calculation steps. Our variables are the input data, which is the price and the quantity, and our output data, the subtotal and the total, and then we have also a constant, which is the tax rate. So those are our variables, and our price is going to be a double. It's not an integer, so it's a decimal point number, so it's a double, and the quantity is going to be an integer, and the subtotal and the total are both doubles. And then we have a constant, which is the tax rate. That's also a double. Okay? So those are our variables, and our calculation steps compute the subtotal, which is just the price times the quantity here, compute the consumption tax, which is the subtotal times the tax rate, and then compute the total, which is the subtotal plus the consumption rate. And this down here, you can't read it. It says our algorithm equals read the input, compute each, display the results. So let me say that again. I know I apologize that you can't see this. Our algorithm is read the input, so that's going to be read this stuff, or I'm sorry, read this stuff, and then compute each, so compute these, or compute them, and then output them. Display the results. Okay? Okay, so let's look at this in more detail. So in a more organized, simplified flowchart form, we have A is input data, B, do the calculations, and C, output the data. Let's say that again. A is input the data, B is do the calculations, and C is output the data. Okay, so input the data means here we want the product name, the price, and the quantity. Oops. So product name, price, and quantity. Calculations, we said we need to calculate the subtotal, the tax, and the total. So subtotal, consumption tax, and total. So we have subtotal is price times quantity. Consumption tax is subtotal times tax rate. And total is subtotal plus the tax, the consumption tax. And then output, the subtotal, consumption tax, and the total. So our algorithm is prompt the user to type in the input data A, perform each of the calculations B, display the output data C. So for this, we're going to need 6 variables. So we're going to need the product name. We're going to need that. We have to store it. I don't think we display it anywhere, do we? No. But anyway, we're going to need to hold it, I guess. The price, we're going to need the price. We're going to need the quantity. And then we want variables for each of the outputs. So subtotal, consumption tax, and total. So we want to declare each of these. So this is a string, so we'll do it as, I think this is the first time we saw string declaration. This is how you declare a string. Dim, the variable name as string. This one is going to be a double. Dim, variable name as double. This one is going to be an integer. Dim, the variable name as integer. This is a double, this is a double, and this is a double. So we do dim as double, as double, as double. And then add one constant, tax rate equals 15? I think we wanted to say the tax rate was 0.05, but maybe this is an error. Okay, I don't think we want to say the tax rate is 15%. Okay, so now we make the controls on here, like this. First, place 2 group boxes. This is something new. We haven't done this before. Then place the other controls as shown. Also set group box properties first. So group controls will default to the font properties of their parents. Very useful. In other words, so we're going to put a group box. You can see there's a group box here. And there's another group box here. And then what he said is, if you set the properties of the group box, which you can do by clicking on the group box, then everything that's in the group box will have the same properties. So he says that by saying group controls will default to the font properties, maybe it's just the font properties, of their parents. Okay, set the properties. So use standard naming for important controls. So important ones are ones that are going to occur in calculations. So we have button up. So in other words, button calculate here. And we have text boxes. So by the way, he says button up. That means the operation. So in this case, it's just calculate. Text use, and by that he means the text box and its use. So this is text box name, or text box product name if you want. And label subtitle, label tax, label total. Okay? Okay, so now we need to put the code in the calculate button, right? We want to put it in the calculate button. And so after the user enters this stuff, we press the calculate button and we get these results. So what do we need to do? We'll do it in 4 steps. So this is in the calculate button. So first we're going to declare the variables and the constants. So 4 steps. First we declare the variables. Then we perform the input. So this is just declaring them. Then we need to assign them the values that come from here. And then we'll do the calculations. So pretty simple calculations. And then we'll output the results. Okay, so we're going to do it like that. I guess it's possible that we could have just sort of combined these 2 steps and had the output as we could have like ignored, not written these variables. We could have just written quantity price here, and in fact we don't even need these variables. I think we could just take text name dot text text price dot text times text quantity dot text. I think that would also work here instead of quantity times price, or even here. So you could sort of do this. It's kind of more methodical to do this. Now, one thing is that we're not using that, what was that called, cint function that we used before that converts things to integers. Well, we don't really want to convert to integers, but okay, maybe we don't need it here actually. Okay, anyway, so and one other thing he says is note that, well, okay, so let's look at this. So we're gonna declare the variables, then we're gonna do this, then we're gonna do this, then we're gonna output. Okay, so declare the variables. So here we talked about using several different variables: product name, price, quantity, subtotal, tax total, and tax rate, which is a constant. Okay, so we declare them just the way we talked about declaring them over here. So we just do that here, and we decided to assign tax rate as double, and here it changed it back to 0.05. And then here we do the data input. So text name dot text, that's here, this text box. Text price text, that's this text box, and so on. And then we do the calculations. So quantity times price is subtotal, and these also, and then we load them into the output. Okay? Conclusion. In this lecture we have discussed algorithms and computer languages. HLL stands for high level language, and learned that the value of any HLL lies in its ability to express algorithms. We've done declaration and use of variables, and also declaring constants. We've looked at common data types for mathematics, integers and doubles. We also saw the use of a string data type, mathematical operations, arithmetic operators, the assignment operator. We also talked about precedence of the operators. Comments in white space. We talked about how you should comment and add white space to your programs. And basic algorithm design. We implemented 2 programs using VisualStudio.net, the simple calculator and the price calculator. And so before the next lecture, you should practice creating the programs yourself. Okay? That's all.